it's Friday, so just before we hit the weekend, let's do this quick webinar and learn a little bit more about how we can utilize being on Salesforce and using all the best apps that Salesforce has to offer. So a little introduction about me. I have been working with FormAssembly for almost a year. I've always been a technology evangelist, and that's why I'm very, very happy to represent FormAssembly's customer success team. All our teams are aligned very well. We work very closely with product, sales, marketing, and so on and so forth. So please do reach out to me if you have any questions or any requests and anything like that. I will be leaving more details about that later. So before jumping into the webinar, actually, like the technical features and stuff, I just want to say that when it comes to Salesforce App Exchange, you can easily log into FormAssembly from Salesforce or App Exchange, as you may call it. FormAssembly has a very high rating on App Exchange. We have hundreds of reviews from our customers and users about how robust FormAssembly's integration with Salesforce is. There is also no limit to the number of forms that you can create when you use FormAssembly. And FormAssembly works with all kinds of Salesforce features or Salesforce versions like Lightning, Classic, Force.com, and many others. And like you may have read, FormAssembly is an all-in-one web form building and data collection solution. And like I mentioned, it works very robustly with Salesforce and App Exchange. And I will show you how easy it is to create a form and to connect it with Salesforce and to push that data into Salesforce, because that is what everyone is trying to do these days. They're trying to go more digital, more paperless, more digitally transformative, especially with the pandemic hitting us. A lot of our customers have actually been calling in and saying that they are trying to go entirely paperless in many aspects, and FormAssembly is already many steps ahead of some other companies in getting those customers there. We are also fully compliant because we take data security very seriously here at FormAssembly. So that means that we are compliant with all the major global, regional, national, provincial, whatever you say, regulations and laws. So when it comes to data security, we have very good, very comprehensive service level agreements and things like that, which are very easy to understand, and they're very compliant. So now the fun part. Today we will be going over how to build a simple form, how to configure it, how to connect it to Salesforce. And what I will be actually doing is I will show you how to create a record in Salesforce through FormAssembly and how to update that record. I will also go through some other features available within FormAssembly. So I'm going to go ahead and begin showing you my FormAssembly instance. So as you can see, this is my FormAssembly instance. Once you log in, whether you log in through Salesforce or App Exchange, or you log in through formassembly.com, this is the page that comes up. And what's really great about this is here you can find all your forms, but on the bottom right, you can find our resource center, which has all our onboarding guides, any announcements and product releases. You can also submit technical support and feedback, and you can also access all our popular resources and other resources that are all available in our knowledge library. One thing that we take great pride in is our knowledge library. It is very comprehensive. There are so many tutorials that every day is sort of exciting for you when you use FormAssembly, and it's so easy to understand and so easy to navigate around that it actually becomes so simple for anyone with any kind of background to create forms. You don't need any coding experience per se, so that's awesome, because I also don't have a lot of coding knowledge, so it's really easy for me. So now I'm just going to quickly go and create a new form, and I'll show you. So in order to create a new form, I'm just going to click on new form, and I'm presented with this. So today I'll be going with the blank form option, but if you want, we have templates as well. We have a Salesforce import tool. I will go into this later. And you can also clone forms from any existing forms. Like if you like a form a lot, it's a really long form, you built it with a lot of love and nurturing, then you can just clone that form straight away. But I'm just going to go on this, and I'm just going to create a form from scratch. So I'll be creating just a very simple, contact information form today. So I'm going to give it a title, and I'm going to call it contact information form Friday, 24th July 2020. And now I'm going to add some content to it. So the first thing I'm going to add is, I like to be very organized. So I'm just going to add like a section, and I'm going to give my section a title called contact info. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some text fields into this. You can customize these fields in any way you like. So I'm going to call this first name. I'm going to create one more. I'm going to call this one last name. I'm going to drag these into my section, and there you go. Your fields are in there. Another field I would love to add is like an email address field, right? Because that can be very handy when you're creating a contact registration form. So just drag this here, and I'm just going to make all these fields required. So it's that easy. And I also want to make sure that my expected input format for the email field is in email format. You can also make it date, time, a number, if it's a phone number, if it's a dollar value or something like that. So you can customize this as much as you like, but I just want to make sure it's email so that the respondent only enters email. If they don't enter it in this format, they won't be allowed to submit the form, which is really good, and making sure that the data submitted is valid. So I will do that. I'm going to go ahead and click on save. So as soon as you create your form and you save it, your form goes live, meaning it is published. Even if you haven't put it on your website or you haven't sent a link to all your respondents, but it is still published and it's ready to test and use. Now, I'm just going to add one quick thing, which is a theme. So we have lots of themes, and you can actually customize the themes according to your brand colors, your logo, your background image, and things like that. You can also use custom CSS to edit themes and make your own themes, and you can definitely reach out to us for more info on that. But the point is that FormAssembly already offers a great selection of themes, and then we are also very flexible with how you want your form to look. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead, and I'm going to use our branded blue theme, and I'm going to save this. Awesome. Now I'm going to show you what this form is actually going to do. So we're going to go into testing mode. So I'm just going to go into view, and this is my live form basically. So I'm going to add some info here. So I'll just add my name, and I'll just do Venus site test, and I'll just add my own email address, and there we go. I've submitted the form. I'm going to go back to my FormAssembly instance, and you can see here in responses, my form has a response. This response can be downloaded as CSV, PDF, attachments. You can see all your metadata. You can also filter responses. You can edit these table columns to display certain fields and not certain fields if you want to keep it organized that way. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of your responses and downloading those responses. And in terms of what's coming ahead in the future is we will also be having a queuing feature, which is going to help you to download large CSV responses. You can already do that, but we're going to go ahead and add some more tracking and reporting elements to that feature release as well. So be on the lookout for that. Another thing, you can also get an email notification as soon as somebody submits a response. So you can see here, I have a response report. I can see my email notification as well. So I can confirm that I've received the response, and I can go back to my form and check it. Now you can make this response report or this email notification as customized and as professional and fancy as possible, depending on your form goals. So I'm going to go back into my FormAssembly instance, and I'm going to show you a couple more features here. So if you want to publish your form, you can publish it. You can just share the public address for this form, or you can publish it on your own website. You can use WordPress plugins as well. Then you can check the responses like I showed you. And then you can also edit the email notifications. You can also get PDF of form response with every email notification. And you can also enable some autoresponders with the email notification. Another great feature about email notifications is that you can also disable them. So if you don't want them, like if you have hundreds of form responses coming in every day, you can just disable it and you can enable it whenever you like. So FormAssembly is very flexible in that sense. Now, the next thing that I'm going to take you through is our connectors portion. So when it comes to our Salesforce integration, we have Salesforce connectors that enable you to push data into Salesforce and make your CRM experience much more robust when it comes to managing large volumes of data. So you can create and update records in Salesforce, and you can pre-fill records as well. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to create a record in Salesforce and then how to update it. So I'm going to start with setting up my Salesforce connector, configuring it, and then we're going to test the end results. So this is my connector timeline, and we have a timeline for every step of a form, from the time when it's open to the time it's submitted and even after it's submitted. So I'm going to add a connector for my form submitted part. And as you can see, we have lots of connectors, but I'm going to go straight to my Salesforce connector. And I'm just going to go into configure, and I'm going to start enabling it. But first things first, I need to connect my Salesforce connector to a Salesforce org that I'm using. So I already have some of these here. So I will go ahead and choose one. But if you don't, if you're a fresh user or you want to add a new one, you can just click on connect to Salesforce and you can add your org there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. And now I'm going to enable my connector, and I'll just wait for the connector instructions to load. Awesome. So now that the connector instructions have loaded, I'm going to select my first object. This is the object in Salesforce where you are trying to push data into. You can also create your own custom objects. For now, I'm going to select one from the list that I already have, and the object I'm selecting is contact because I want to fill in contact information. And I'm going to go ahead and click on update. This is very easy in terms of either creating a new contact or updating it. And I will show you what happens there and why I selected update. But another thing to keep in mind about our connector is that it is like a story, and the story goes from top to bottom. So if you want to read the connector instructions, or if, let's say, your colleague set up a connector and you went into it and you wanted to see what they're exactly trying to achieve, you will go from top to bottom in order to figure out what they were actually trying to do. So for me right now, it's that I'm trying to update a contact, right? And then whatever steps follow, that's how I'm going to be reading from top to bottom to figure out what I'm actually trying to do, or what whoever the user is they're trying to do. So here I'm going to just select update contact and select a Salesforce field. So I'm going to go on email, which is equals to a field in my form, and that will be email address. I'm going to add another one, last name. And this is also going to be equal field in my form and last name. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on OK. There we go. So what's basically going to happen is that Salesforce, like FormAssembly, is going to check for the email address and the last name that I'm going to be entering into the form. And if there is no match for that email address and last name in Salesforce, it's going to create a new record. If there is a match, it will update that record, or if there are multiple matches, it will create a new record. And I'm going to show you that, but just in a second, I'm going to map my first field really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead with my first name. Yep. And first name. There we go. So I've just mapped all my fields. I'm going to go ahead and click on save, making sure I have checked everything. It's very important because this enables everything to happen. Okay, perfect. So I've done this. So now I'm just going to go ahead and test my result. So I'm going to add, let's say we add, I'm going to take Rakesh's name, and I'm just going to do this, and I'll just do a test email. I'm going to submit it. So, sorry about that. Okay, so on my end, I should have, yep, I have Rakesh's response here. Now I'm just going to quickly go into Salesforce, and I'm going to search for Rakesh, and just to see if the data was pushed into Salesforce or not. So this usually takes about a minute or two to load. So I'm just going to go into my contacts in Salesforce. It's easier to find things over there sometimes. There we go. Oops. Okay, I'm going to go on the next page. Oh yeah, there we go. So we have Rakesh's contact here. So the data has been pushed and we have successfully created a new record in Salesforce. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this record. So I'm going to go back to my form, and I'm going to change the name from Rakesh to, perhaps, let's change it to Manira, and I'll keep the last name same, and I'll keep the email address same. And I'm going to submit. You can interchange this, by the way, whatever your form goal is. For me right now, it's just to update the first name. And I have submitted it. And now I'm going to go back to Salesforce, and there we go. So the name has been updated to Manira, the first name. And that is how you easily create a new record in Salesforce, or you can also update a record in Salesforce. You can also pre-fill records, and you can do a lot of customized stuff with Salesforce. Now, the next thing that I'm really quickly going to show you is our Salesforce import tool in FormAssembly. Now, the Salesforce import tool is really cool because it allows you to quickly create a new web form using Salesforce objects and fields as a template. You can pick from any object available in your Salesforce org, including custom objects. So it's pretty cool. So all you need to do is you go back to your homepage in FormAssembly, you go on import from Salesforce. And again, if your org is already there, you don't need to add any new ones. If it's not, you can just connect to Salesforce. So mine is already here. I'm just gonna go on this. We also have the documentation readily available here on top if you are looking for any help. Otherwise, you can always go into our knowledge library for that. So this is my Salesforce form import tool. What I'm trying to do is maybe I'm just trying to create an account form, right? A form with lots of account information. So it will be the account object. And let's say I need the account ID, account name, account number, phone, maybe source type, just to begin with. And as I scroll down, I can actually see what my form is going to look like. So the form starts to get created. And I'm just going to click on save. And I'm going to go straight into testing my form. And there you go. This is the form that I'm actually trying to create with the Salesforce form import tool. Now, there are lots of things that I would like to edit about this form. So I can simply go back into my FormAssembly instance, my forms list, and the form is most probably going to be called something like imported form. Yep. So it will be this one, imported form 24 July 2020. I can just click on it. I can start building it, customizing it, adding themes and titles and things like that. But it was very easy because it just sort of got created from a Salesforce template, and it will be pushed into Salesforce as well. So that's our Salesforce form import tool. And that is, everything sort of in a quick nutshell about how you can create a form in FormAssembly, how you can customize it, how you can push records into Salesforce, how you can update those, how you can use our Salesforce form import tool. We have other things like our template library, like I mentioned. You can clone forms. You can also create workflows, add themes, and lots of things, depending on your company goals and your use case goals. I'm going to just quickly pop back into my presentation, and I'm going to share the screen. So there are a couple more things I would love to share before we go into any live Q&As, if you guys have any Q&As. So since we are in the middle of a pandemic, we understand that everyone is going through a lot of change management issues right now within their organizations. So in order to help people serving on the front lines, we are offering free compliance cloud accounts and free implementation services. If your organizations have any projects involved directly in the fight against COVID-19, your use cases might include self-assessment questionnaires, clinical trial screenings, volunteer registration, donations, and anything else. So if you are interested, please do go on formassembly.com/coronavirus-assistance. You can also reach out to me, or you can reach out to Rakesh or Manira, and they'll be very happy to, I'm sure, pass over your information to us. In other stuff, I know that there are lots of people every day who call in and they want to try FormAssembly for free. This is a very popular thing we have with FormAssembly. We have lots and lots of users who did our trials at first and they loved it, and then they converted. So if you are looking to try this out for free without any credit card requirements or any formalities like that, please do visit formassembly.com/sign-up. You can also just write to me or to Rakesh or Manira, and we'll be very happy to share this link with you. The information is on our website as well. But yeah, feel free to go ahead and try the trials yourself and see how quick and easy and fun it can be to actually create these forms. Yeah, and I think with that, I'm going to be finishing my part of the webinar. I'm open to any questions you may have, but congratulations if you're still around, you did it. And please do reach out to us and let us know how we can enhance your form building experiences. Thank you.